We'll start adding our snowman by shift right clicking here to add our 3D cursor there. Shift A, add a cube. And then I'll tab into edit mode, right click, subdivide, and I'll set the number of segments to 4 and turn the smoothness up all the way. And now we have a nice sphere. The reason I went with the cube is because it will have more consistent subdivision. We can rename this by hitting F2 and call it snowman ball. We'll tab into edit mode, scale it down a bit, and we'll move it about here, maybe. We'll hit right click, shade smooth, and then we'll add a modifier. We'll start with subdivision with 3 levels. I can just hit Control 3 to add that. I want the render levels to be 3, 2, or maybe even 4. We'll add a displace modifier with our high frequency. And we will lower the strength to probably about 0.1 maybe a little bit higher, 0.2. And then in 2.90, you can just hover over the modifier and hit Shift D and it'll duplicate it. And we'll change this to low frequency. And we'll maybe raise this 0.5, maybe even a little higher, or maybe lower. Yeah, we'll go about 0.6 maybe. Next, for our material, we will go ahead and duplicate our snow material. So find snow and hit this little 3 to duplicate, make it unique. We'll go into shading. And you might see some seams in the UVs and the texture, so we'll go and box map that. Change flat to box. Point 2. It may be cool to make a script to do this really quickly. And then we can go and select one of our textures and hit Control T. Then we can hold Alt right click and drag here to quickly connect it. Now it looks weird, so we'll switch from the UV to the generated vector. And hopefully that should give us a decent result. We can adjust the scale maybe if you want. Maybe 0.1 or 0.15 maybe. I'm going to just move that in there. We can hit Alt D and duplicate it. Scale it down a little. Hit RR to do a trackball style rotation. Alt D to duplicate it again, and we got the head. Scale it down a little. R, trackball rotation. It may help a little bit for our vision to have some ambient occlusion on to actually get a little bit more depth. That's something like that. Now, it might be nice to have the other guys parented to each other, so I'll select this one and then select the bottom. Control P, object, and select the head in the middle. Control P, object. Then if I drag the bottom one, it drags the whole thing. If I drag this one, it drags just it and the head will be alone. So next we can make some coal. We'll Shift D to duplicate this, and we'll remove the subdivision since it'll be small. It doesn't really need it. We'll scale it down. Drag it here, maybe a little smaller. And then we'll go and set the material to rock. And then we'll hit this 2 to make a single user copy. And we'll start by removing the snow on the top, which is on the bottom here. we'll hit delete, or X, and we'll hit X here too. And then we can hit Control Shift to connect that automatically to the output. I don't think I necessarily care too much about having it mix different colors, so I'll just connect this directly to there. And we'll just make it black by reducing the value. And that works for us. So I can select the coal and shift left click the head and hit Control P to parent it. And then I can hit Alt D and start duplicating these guys, and if I move the head, they'll automatically be going along with it. I'll scale these down, I think they're a little too big. I can hit RR to do a trackball rotation. If you find it difficult to move around easily, it can sometimes be nice to turn on locked 3D cursor. And then you can just rotate around nice and easily wherever the 3D cursor is. There's some other options in the preferences that can do similar things. I like the 3D cursor because it gives me the most control. And we'll make a smile. Hit RR and rotate these guys around a bit. And we got a smile. I feel like this head maybe looks a little bit like it's leaning forward, so I might rotate it back. Drag it down. I think maybe the eyes are a little too high. Yeah, that's a bit better. Next, we can give it a carrot nose. I'll hit Shift right click in the middle here. Hit Shift A, add cylinder. I'll set the vertices to 8. And then I'll hit Tab into edit mode and scale down. I think I'll delete this bottom face here. And then I'll hit link select. And I'll hit RY90 to rotate it 90 degrees on the Y axis. And then I can just hit G, and I use the middle mouse to select the axis by moving in that general direction. And then I can hit S to scale down a little bit. And then I can hit X to delete that face, and I'll hit Alt left click to select this edge loop, hit F3 to search and search for grid fill. I'll drag that out a little bit. Hit Control R, scroll up to add some loops. I can hit A to select all, hit F3 to search, and I will search for random. And we'll use transform randomize. That might be a little bit too much. I think I'll drop it to about 0.005. That just adds a little bit. And then I can hit Control 3 to add a subdivision, or maybe just Control 2 to add 2 levels. I think maybe it might be nice to have it be a little more pointed. So I'll use C to get circle select, and I'll just select these end faces easily with that. And I'll hit O to turn on proportional editing. And then I can scale it down a little bit, and I can adjust the size of the brush with my scroll wheel. You can also use page up or down if you are on like a laptop or something and don't have a scroll wheel. I think maybe this carrot might be a little big. Scale it down. I'll turn off proportional editing real quick. Now I'm going to take the material from the coal, which I didn't name, so I'll call it coal. instead of rock01. Then I'll hit this make user, and then I'll call it carrot. Then I can adjust the color to make it orange. I'll get rid of this and use a mix RGB. I found that the other one didn't really have enough control for changing this to orange in the way I wanted. I'll set the color to a nice orange and then change it to multiply. But the dark parts of the texture really make it not look like a carrot, so I'll hit Shift A, search for color ramp. I'll just try to weaken the darks by making it a light color here. Increase the factor to the 1 to lean it towards the orange. And now we've got something that looks somewhat like a carrot. Might want to adjust that color, make it more yellow. And I don't think it really matters too much to have the color perfect, so we'll go with that. And then I'll hit Control Space to zoom in. I'll hit Shift right click to add my 3D cursor to the top and hit Shift A to add a cylinder. We'll stick with 8 vertices. Scale it down. We'll hit F2, call this one top hat. Did I call this carrot? Nope. Scale it down, drag it up. Now I'll delete this bottom face. And I'll hit Shift left click to select this bottom loop. And I'll hit E. And I'll right click to cancel the movement of the extrude. And I'll scale it up. Now we got the basic shape of the hat. I'll hit Control R and add a loop in the middle. Just give it a little bit more of a shape. Maybe I'll scale the top down just slightly. Then I can hit Control 2 to add a subdivision. Shade smooth. Now I could use some control loops to make it harder in the transitions. So I can hit bevel modifier. I'll turn off the subdivision for now. And you can see that it adds these bevels that are pretty big. So I'll drop it down to 0.02, maybe even lower. 0.005 maybe. I'll add another segment. And then if I change the profile to 1, it hardens it like it was never even beveled at all. It just adds loops around. And I can set the limit method to angle so it doesn't add any places where there's not much of an angle like here. I'll adjust the angle to make sure that it doesn't affect these edges as well. Then I can turn the subdivision back on, but it needs to be placed at the bottom. And now it is subdivided, but it has nice sharp edges where it needs to have nice sharp edges. Now we can just add a solidify modifier to make sure that it's not perfectly thin. Might be nice to put that at the top. Now that's about 1 centimeter, which I think might be a little bit thick, so 0.5 might be good. I can Control S to save that. Now most top hats have like a little ribbon loop going around at the bottom, so we'll go and add that. I'll press 3 to go into face selection mode and hit Shift left click to select this ring of faces. I'll hit Shift D to duplicate it. I'll scale it up a little bit and then scale. And then I'll select the bottom loop if I can. I think I got selected, and I'll hit GG to slide it up. Select the top loop and GG to slide it down, maybe about there. And now we got a nice ribbon loop at the bottom there, and now we can work on the materials. I think maybe I'll drag it down just a little bit. We'll add a new material. We'll call it fabric black. We can hit Control-Shift-T to do a principled setup and select our textures. I went with the book pattern color 1 from Texture Haven. I'll use the green one, the normal map, and the roughness. Now first we gotta fix the mapping. So I'll set it to box from flat. And set the blend to about 0.2 on each of these again. I'll use the generated option. I think the scale is nice as it is. I mean, it might be a little bit overly done, but you'll be zoomed out and it might look nice if you can actually see a little bit of texture on it. So you might want to make it a little smaller, but I'll stick with this. Next, we need to change the color to black, so we'll add a hue saturation node. And we'll drop the value to about 0.2. And we'll make it a little bit more of a bluish color by dragging up to about 0.9. I think maybe the saturation's a little high, so we'll drop that down a little. And then we have a nice hat. I think it might be nice to have a little bit of more of a sheen on it. And then we can go ahead and add a new slot. And we'll choose fabric black again, and we'll hit 2 to make a duplication of it. And we'll make this one called fabric blue. And then we can just adjust this value and saturation. We'll put the value up back to 0.5. We need to actually apply it first. Just increase the value, play with the saturation, and see what looks nice. Maybe make it all the way up to 1. Nah, we'll stick with 0.9. Increase the value. I think I like that. Maybe I'll go and drag this up again a little. I'll hit GG, then I'll hit C to unconstrain it. Yeah, something like that I think looks nice. Maybe a little bit less. We'll just put it on his head now. Careful to make sure it doesn't clip with him. Yeah, that looks nice. I think we can add some coal as like buttons down here. We'll hit Alt D and duplicate it, but we'll hit Shift P on this body and snowball and hit Control P and parent it there. And that way it goes along with it instead of the head. And we should parent the carrot and the hat to the head. Select, Control P. We'll drag this coal into its position. Maybe make this one a little bit bigger since it's supposed to be a button. Rotate this one. And save. And now we'll work on making an axe. So we'll shift right click somewhere around here, Shift A, add a cube. Tab into edit mode, scale it down with S, a little more maybe, scale, and then I'll use middle click and hold it to lock it to the Y axis. Then I'll hit G, middle click on X to drag over in the X axis. Scale, middle click in the direction of X. And then I can hit Control R to add a loop, and I'll put it in the middle here. Right click to cancel the movement. I can scale this on the y-axis by pressing SY0. I'll go into wireframe and select this edge and scale up on Z. And then I'll hit Control R and add a loop in the middle. Press 1 to go into vertex selection, wireframe, and select that guy and drag it over here. Then I can hit Control R and add a loop where the edge is going to start. Then I can hit Control B to bevel, and I'll scroll up and add maybe one extra loop in the middle. And I'll make it nice and small, and this will be control loops to harden that edge. And I'll hit Control R and add a control loop over here as well. Then I can select all by pressing A and hit M to merge by distance. And that'll get rid of the ones that are overlapping right here at the edge. And then I can hit Control R, drag up to here at the top, and Control R and drag down at the bottom to add more control loops for the subdivision. I can hit Control 2 and you can see it's nice and smooth. Maybe I'll add another loop here, scale it up a little bit. Maybe another loop here and scale it down just a little. And now we got the head of the axe, so we can hit F2 and call it axe head. We'll save. We'll go to material preview by pressing Z and moving down. I'll hit Control Space to go back into the smaller view so I can go to my materials and I'll set metal. And then I can hit Shift S, cursor to selected to move my cursor to the origin point. And as I can see, this origin point I accidentally moved it in edit mode. So if I want to put it back, I can press Control period and hit GX to move the origin point here in the origin point movement mode. Now I'll hit Control period to bring it back out of the origin point mode. And I'll hit Shift S, cursor to selected, Shift A, add a cube. I'll hit F2 and call this axe handle. And then I'll scale it down in edit mode. Scale it down, scale it up a little. Move it back here maybe. Scale it down on the y-axis. Bring this guy down. And then I can start extruding from here. I'll extrude 1. Press 2 and select this edge and bring it over here. Hit E, extrude. Maybe this is a little skinny, so I might scale it up a little on the x-axis. May bring this back just a tad on the X. Hit G, Z, bring that down more. Move it back a little with G and X. Control R to add a loop. G, X, bring it forward a little that way. And then I'll extrude another one at the bottom here. Select this edge here. Bring it out with G and X. Bring it up with G and Z. Hit Control R and add an edge loop. Bring this back down with G and Z. And maybe I'll go into wireframe and select the bottom and bring it down a little bit more. Then bring this out a little more. And then I'll hit Control 2 to add a subdivision. Hit Shade Smooth. Then I'll go back into edit mode and add some control loops. Control R, Control R, Control R, Control R, and Control R. That'll sharpen up the bits a little bit. Actually, maybe I might want to go into vertex selection and move this part back on the X a little. I can select these two, and to make them straighter, I can hit GG and bring it all the way to one side and press GG and bring it back. And then maybe I'll scale it up a little more on the X and on the Y. Yeah, that's pretty good. I hit Control Space and go into Material Preview, and I'll apply wood to it. I can go to UV editing to adjust the wood. If I select all, I should be able to see them. I'll just move all the islands into the same general area so that I can just scale them all up at once and not have to worry about them. I can press S, scale it up. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less. Yeah, something like that will be good enough. And then we can save. Now we'll go to the Layout tab. And we'll work on the arms after we set up our pose. So first we can take the axe and we should probably parent the handle to the head by shift selecting and press Control P. Object. And then we'll rotate this head back a little maybe. Bring this back. Maybe not that much rotation. And then you can look at it with 0 to see the pose. And then we can take this axe and then we'll bring it back probably over his shoulder. Tip, if you rotate too close, it's going to be very powerful, but if you have your mouse farther away, it's going to be more gradual. Same with moving and scaling. It'd be nicer if we can get a little bit better shot of the axe. So we'll go with that. We'll save. Next we can add the arms. We'll hit Shift A after moving our 3D cursor to the spot. We'll just add a plane. Then we'll tab into edit mode, merge at center. We'll select our vertice, make sure you're in vertice select. Extrude it. And then we'll move it here, and then maybe you might want to try and make the pose in real life to get a feel for it. So we'll just move this vertice down. Down about there. Then we'll extrude and add the other part of the arm over here. Move that back a little. And when I do the pose in real life, I have my left hand, this one on the bottom and the right on the top. And then we can go and block out another one. We can hit F2 to call it arm first. And then we'll shift right click over here. Shift A, add plane, tab into edit mode, press M, merge at center, and then extrude. We'll just do a little bit. Actually, maybe the whole thing should be moved back a little. And then we'll extrude down. And then extrude up. And move it into position. Then we can probably move these verts closer where they are in the shoulder area. Then we'll want to probably subdivide these a couple of times. A GG one of these to slide it over a little closer. So that you get a sharper angle in the elbow area. Subdivide. A little closer. Subdivide. Next, let's add some fingers. We'll extrude a few times and wrap around the handle. Maybe one here. And then one going around the other side, that would be like the thumb. Then we'll do on the other one, which we should also call arm. First we'll do the thumb, then the fingers. Just extrude a bunch of times. Maybe we'll click this edge and subdivide and extrude. Okay. Now we'll add the skin modifier to them. So we'll add skin, and it might be a little bit too fat of an arm. So in edit mode, we'll select all with A and hit Control A to scale it all down. That's like the skin resize. Then select the other one and do the same. Skin, tab into edit mode, select all, skin resize with Control A. Okay, so you could probably add a subdivision surface and maybe move it to the top and even apply it. And then add another subdivision surface at the bottom. Same here, you can add a subdiv. Press Control A to apply it, and then add another subdiv. Then you can tab into edit mode and wiggle around all the vertices since there's now more. Now it's going to be important to shrink the ends of these arms, so where the fingers are. So you can press O to turn on proportional editing, and then press Control A, and then you can scale them down with Control A, and use the proportional editing to shrink it like that and make it more branch-like. Then we can maybe select random points and change their wideness a little bit to give it some more variation. And then you can also move them around a little. Same here. Select one of them with proportional editing, scale it down. Select another point. You're likely to have some little glitchy areas. Hopefully they don't really show up too much in the render, because they're kind of hard to get rid of. And use Control A to add some variation, maybe G to move them around. And save. Make sure you have smooth shading on your skin modifiers. And then you can add the bark material. Now you're going to have to make a unique single user copy and make this bark no snow or something. And then we'll just go to shading and we'll remove the snow texture at the bottom. And then we'll get rid of this and we'll hit Control Shift left click to directly connect this. And then we can apply that same material to the other arm. So now we're going to go and add some wood for him to be chopping. I'll select one of these and press Shift D to duplicate it. I'll change the bark material to bark no snow. Then we'll tab it into edit mode. Make sure the correct face attributes option is turned off so that it doesn't mess up the UVs on our wood end. We'll press A to select all. Rotate X 90 degrees. Scale Shift Z. Scale down. Scale Shift Z. I'll turn off proportional editing. And I can just press G and Z and move this down. Now we can hit Shift D again, drag it up, then scale Shift Z and make it a log for him to chop. Maybe scale Z a little bit, and then we can just move it up. Then we'll rotate on the Z axis a bit. Then we can save, and now he has something to chop. Maybe we'll have to move it a little closer. That looks like that might be about right. And now we can go ahead and add our other snowman coming out the window. So I can go and select this part. And then I can go press period to find it. And then I can right click, select hierarchy, which will automatically select all the things that are connected to it. Now that the hierarchy is selected, I can press Alt D to duplicate linked and I can move it over there. And I don't need this hat right now, so I'll delete it. And I'll just select the base one here. I'll actually press Alt P to clear the parent from the other snowman's base. Then we'll just move it to be poking its head out over here. Rotate. Then we'll go at this angle to rotate it towards the camera. And we'll press 0 to look at it through the camera. Maybe we'll move it down a little. Something like that. Now it might be nice for it to have another arm too. So what we can do is we can do the same thing we did for the arm before. So we'll shift right click where we want to put it. Shift A, add a plane, tab into edit mode, press M, merge at center, and then just extrude a few times. And then we'll extrude some fingers out. And then we can go to adding a subdivision surface modifier. Control A to apply it. Then we can go and add a little bit more variation in our model. Make it look a little more natural. And then we can go and add the skin modifier. Tab into edit mode. Select all. Hit Control A to scale it down. To resize the skin. Press O to go into proportional editing and select one of the ends and hit Control A, scale up the proportional editing. Then you can have the fingers added and maybe you can move and extrude a little bit more. And maybe we can add some variation over here in the scale. Then we can add another subdivision surface and hit Shade Smooth on the skin modifier and attach the bark no snow material to it. Then we can press 0 and look at through our view. It doesn't look that great. So maybe we'll rotate it, move it inside their body a little bit more. See if we can't get it to look a little better. Maybe get it so that it looks a little more like it's all going at an angle facing us. More like a waving angle. Something like that. And it's not really that noticeable, but now we have our snowman. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe, and you'll see the next video on lighting and compositing. Thank you.